This changes everything for the Pittsburgh Steelers as we have some massive updates to go over today ahead of their game against the Bills as things have taken a surprising turn and everything just lined up perfectly for the Steelers team. We're going to break that down, but also discuss a bunch of other updates ahead of the game on Sunday that have implications beyond just this upcoming game. But before we get into it all, quick reminder, folks, to hit that subscribe button. Ladies and gentlemen, let's dive right into it. There's a lot of updates to go over today, and of course, the Steelers are going up against the Bills on Sunday, and we have some big news to go over. Just dropped from Adam Schefter. The Bills have now ruled out both starting tackles, Dion Dawkins and Spencer Brown, along with linebackers Terrell Bernard and Curtis Samuel for Sunday's game versus the Steelers. Josh Allen was sacked a career-high 8 times last week. Now, folks, this is good news for a variety of reasons. And we also have some updates surrounding the Bengals doing the Steelers a favor there yesterday, but I want to start with this. This is massive news. Now, I've been keeping track on this. I'm sure a lot of you guys have been as well. Heading into the game on Sunday, the Bills have been decimated on their O-line. Josh Allen, like it says here, got sacked 8 times last week. And they're going to be without multiple starting offensive linemen again. So Dion Dawkins, again, their left tackle, he's done for the game. Spencer Brown, he's not going to be playing. And, of course, some of their defense as well. And Curtis Samuel. This is perfect because the Steelers, obviously, their defense has been struggling in general this year. They've been a little bit better as of late. They have a chance now to really take advantage of a depleted Bills O-line. Now, in the same time, we think back to last week, the Bears were depleted multiple facets and they still lost the game. The Steelers, that is. But they had to be able to take care of business here against the Bills. Now, some other notes is that Dalton Kincaid is questionable for Sunday. So, Kincaid, their tight end, obviously, he's going to be questionable as well. The Bills are really hurt with injuries. We do have some injury updates to go over from the Steelers side of things, but this is the game you need to win now. Obviously, Josh Allen, the Bills, they're coming off of a bad loss. They have a mini bye week. They're going to be coming out ready to fire. But the facts are the facts. The Bills are without their, really solid O-linemen, both Dawkins and Spencer Brown. You have to be able to get to Josh Allen. That's the only way to really neutralize him. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He's the most, you could argue he's the most versatile along with Lamar Jackson in the league. You have to be able to get to him. Now, that's going to mean guys like TJ Watt, everybody who's obviously on the D-line is going to have to step up. But not only that, you're also going to have to get some more continued performance out of your secondary, whether that be James Pierre, whether that be Kyle Duggar, who had multiple chances to get interceptions to seal the deal against the Bears last week. Everybody's going to have to step up because this game is now bigger than ever. The Ravens did the Bengals did the Steelers a favor by winning against the Ravens yesterday, which now means the Steelers are back in the number 1 spot in the AFC North. We can see this here. The Steelers certainly have their issues, yet they can still very realistically win the North this year. Down the stretch, Baltimore has the Steelers twice, the Bengals again, then the Patriots and the Packers. That's a pretty darn tough road. My guess is 10 wins would get the division for the Steelers. Hell, 9 might get the job done at this point. So obviously, by the Bengals winning, that is huge. We know that we needed the Bengals to win at least one of the games, and they won one of them. They, of course, play them again. This time, the Ravens will be on the road. But for the Steelers, you obviously control your own fate as well because you play the Bengals, or the Baltimore Ravens, a lot of different bees here. A lot of these teams, you play a lot of them twice, or one of them twice in the Ravens, but also, again, the Bengals have a chance to do the Steelers a favor, once again, when they play them on the road. But regardless of that, the Steelers can take care of business. If they win against the Bills, and obviously one of the biggest storylines coming in was how difficult the Steelers' schedule is going forward, right? And that was tough. The Ravens is just as hard, if not harder. The Steelers, very solid team, of course. The Bengals, Joe Burrow's back, right? So they're very good. The Patriots, one of the best teams in the NFL. The Packers, one of the best teams in the NFL. They now have multiple teams that they're going to have to get through in order to win the division. And it's going to be pretty tough for the Bengals to win the division. So if there's ever a time to win the AFC North, if you have a mid-team, it would be this year. That's all that being said. We know the Steelers' play has not inspired any bit of confidence recently, but the AFC North is so mediocre/poor that really doesn't put them out of it at all. I mean, they're favorites at this point in my mind to win it. Now, yes, the Ravens are going to probably have some bounce-back games. Lamar Jackson looked awful yesterday. You have a chance now against the Bills to send a message to the NFL that, hey, this is different. Send a message to the fans that this year is going to be different under Mike Tomlin. And I want to see them go ahead and do that. So they're in a great spot. One of the better spots they've been in to win the division in a long time. You look at it, they're 6-5. The Ravens are 6-6. So they've recaptured their their number 1 spot in the division. And of course, ahead of the game Sunday, take care of business. Now, speaking of the game Sunday, let's look at the injury report from a couple days ago, and then we'll dive into some updates from yesterday into today. So on Wednesday, just to give you guys some timelines here, Rodgers didn't practice. You have guys like Jonnu Smith, and TJ Watt out for rest, but you're mostly healthy outside of Broderick Jones, who isn't going to play. But a brand new update has dropped from yesterday, revealing that Rodgers, Metcalf, Heyward, and Highsmith were all upgraded to full participants. So they're all going to be most likely good to go outside of Aaron Rodgers, we'll dive into in a minute. And of course, Broderick Jones is going to be the main guy who's not practicing. We hope Joey Porter Jr. will be available. I believe they're practicing later today, so I'll have another video covering the updates from later today, probably later tonight. But again, it's probably going to be the same things here. That's why I wanted to get the video out as fast as possible for you all following that new report. You can see here, though, from Rappaport, Rodgers was a full participant yesterday and is expected to play on Sunday, or at least it's a sign that he's on track to play Sunday. You get Aaron Rodgers back, which, despite what a lot of fans thought prior to last week's game, you need him back on the team. Mason Rudolph was a disaster out there, quite frankly. They should have won that game and would have with Aaron Rodgers. You get Aaron Rodgers back. Beyond that, you get a lot of other guys back as well, right? And you're getting a lot of your main focal point pieces back. And then Arthur Smith came out and said that they want to continue to work to get explosive plays and will use the middle of the field. So they're going to try to get, obviously, DK Metcalf more involved, Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson. They're not elevating Marquez Valdes-Scantling, it doesn't seem. Doesn't seem like they're going to elevate Asante Samuel Jr. I'm curious to see when they make a play to call up Marquez Valdes-Scantling, make a play for him right at this point, because the wide receivers haven't been doing much. And of course, we know the Steelers and Arthur Smith are big on the 3 jumbo tight end, the jumbo set, right? With obviously Darnell Washington, Jonnu Smith, Pat Freiermuth, and Freiermuth had a decent game last week. They're going to have to find ways to get more explosive plays, because if you don't, you're going to be in very rough shape. And we've seen that now for the past few weeks. And to have Highsmith back is great. Cam Heyward, great. Metcalf should be good. And Rodgers, you're in a very good spot. But again, none of this matters if the defense doesn't step up. You're going up against a fantastic offensive team. Of course, they've been dealing with their own issues at times. But, I mean, the Bills, every year, one of the best teams, if not the best team in the regular season in football. But Terrell Austin spoke about specifically his Bears game plan. I want to touch on how it can translate to Sundays. You can see here, Terrell Austin on Pittsburgh going back to C3 heavy versus Chicago and why the Bears were successful on those looks. And he said, I thought they did a good job of catching us and getting some things on us. We'll go back and we look at the tape and then we decide what kind of adjustments we need to make. And of course, he goes into some more details saying every defense you call, every coverage you call has some weak points and some things can be exploited. And let's not forget, there's been times this year where they've been called out. Patrick Queen specifically calling out Terrell Austin following the game. They're going to have to figure it out, right? They're going to have to figure out what schemes to run. You're not going to stop Josh Allen. All you can do is hope to mitigate him. But at this point, if there ever was a game to stop him, and I put that in air quotes, it would be the game where they're missing Deion Dawkins, they're missing Spencer Brown, and you're really thin. Bills, that is, up on the front. So let us know down below. Let me know, rather, down below what your thoughts are on this. Do you have more optimism, or do you think that we're still going to end up in the classic Steelers fashion, finish 9-8, and miss out the playoffs by one game? Hopefully not. Let me know down below your thoughts. You guys are fantastic. See you later.